Hi, and welcome back to another Rage Badger Gaming video going over the Frosthaven classes. Today, we're going to be going over the Necromancer.
The Necromancer is interesting because Frosthaven was initially going to release with 5 starting classes, but it was bumped up to 6 when Necromancer was moved into it, initially slated to appear in Jaws the Lion. However, it was deemed a little too advanced to retain all of the mechanics they wanted to for the Necromancer, but still keep Jaws the Lion as a very entry-level version of Gloomhaven. So they changed its race, did a little bit of retooling, and now it's part of Frosthaven. One of the core mechanics it has is a lot of summons and a lot of non-lost summons, mostly at the expense of the life of the Necromancer, who has a very high card count, but a very low amount of life. So you kind of have to balance it. And initially, when they were playtesting it, all the skeletons, which we'll go over shortly, had 2 health. They ended up bumping them to 3 health. The life cycle of the Necromancer has been interesting because it's probably had the most changes through all of the playtests. And we're actually grabbing one of the more recent ones because of the bump up to 3 health. I think dramatically changes a lot of the other abilities as well. So without further ado, let's just dig into the cards.
All right, we're gonna start with the cards that are summons. So we're summoning skeletons here, starting with Life and Death.
Life and Death is one of the 3 non-lost summons out of the Necromancer gets. They get 15 cards that you can pick from at level 1. 3 are non-lost summons, 1 is a lost summon. It does cause you to suffer 2 damage each time you summon them. Given you only start with 6 health, you're going to probably want to have some sort of healing or maybe a potion to help with that. However, it does give you experience every time you summon one, so but it's a lot of the abilities you'll notice will say one of your minions do this, one of your allies do this, and that's why we're going to start with all these. So all of them have the same top, so the big difference is the initiative and the bottom. So with Life and Death, we have a terrible initiative of 91, which may actually not be that bad for summoning. You probably, since they can't act on the first turn anyway, you may want to hold it back. This will give you some durability if you really need it. It will allow you to ignore the next 3 sources of damage against you. So if you need to summon more crap and you're almost out of health, or if you just need to finish off the scenario, you've got that option at the expense of losing one of your summons, because once these 3 charges are gone, the spell's forever out of your hand.
Forever. And the next summoning card we're going to talk about is Called from Beyond.
I think we've covered most of the base on this. It's a really basic card. It's just move 4, and the other thing's a summon. The initiative's slightly better, but given the Necromancer's lack of mobility, I think a move 4, you might not want to summon every time if it's out. Could just need to get into position.
And the next summoning card is Damned Horde.
This is interesting because Isaac actually said in a recent interview they're changing the value of certain conditions in Frosthaven or Gloomhaven, and they want to make Curse more valuable. They think they gave away Curse too readily, so this gives you 2 curses provided you can target up to 2 enemies nearby. Or you get, if you don't have 2 enemies, you summon a skeleton. Also, the initiative's 71. It's still not great, but it's the best out of the 3 basic summons.
I love cursing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's one of those where you can use those other ones to just put skeletons in, and if you, like, I'm too low on health, I can't summon, just throw curses in. Mm-hmm. Just throw curses in!
And the last most powerful summoning card is Unearthed Horror.
Yeah, Unearthed Horror is very interesting because it kind of has a crappy but amazing summon. I don't like the 1 move, but 5 health and 3 damage is very good. It's going to outpace several other summons. 2 experience, and it powers Earth. Earth is actually used on a lot of the other ones, so you can set up a turn after this. So the real thing is, so if it's got a 1 move, you could just unleash this higher damage thing in the last room. So if the bottom half might actually end up saving it. In this case, the bottom half's pretty good in my opinion. Poison everything that's next to one of your skeletons. Just straight up poison it, and then also empower Earth to set up one of the other ones. I don't think the summoning is that great. It could actually be good in a final room, especially soaking up possibly 5 health or more. And then the 3 damage. If you let that thing go, that's probably one of your better options.
And now we're going to talk about the cards that aren't summons, and we're going to talk about Fell Remedy.
Fell Remedy can help you out. The bottom half is pretty nice because you can pair it with an attack or some the later control effects. And if you know you're going to kill something, you can heal yourself for 3, and that can help buy you some more time later. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that, but I think it's one of those I'd like to play a little more to figure out if I like it. The top half is also a heal, but it has to be an adjacent ally. Heal 1's super weak for an adjacent heal, but the ability to burn more elements to potentially bump that up to a heal 5, especially on a level 1 card, with elements that they actually do freely empower. They have some bottom halves that empower Earth and Dark. You could set this up, and since you can actually heal one of your friends, you can also just potentially heal one of your skeletons. But since they have 3 health, they're probably going to die pretty quickly anyway. The part I don't like about Fell Remedy is you can't use that to heal yourself.
And next we have Malicious Conversion.
Super situational. When you can pull it off to set it up, it's incredible. It saves you health. It saves you... It's really good. But the problem is there's so few situations. Like, you have to have everything set up correctly. The bottom half is nice because you can move 3 and potentially 5 if you have Earth. You probably want to use that Earth for something else. The top half does empower Dark, empower Earth, but it's a melee attack, which I'm not hugely fond of on the Necromancer, but you're going to have to probably bring a couple of them. 1 second. You stop fucking eating that plant. But the top half does give you a melee attack 3. You do get to empower both elements that you need, so you've got all that. But for it to have the really good effect, if you can kill something with it, and you know you're going to, you have to have one of your skeleton cards in your discard, not in your hand. Then you can summon it without taking the 2 damage, so it does not only save you 2 health, it saves you a top half play. Sounds great, but I
think it's totally doable. I mean, you have 3 summons... Like 3 different cards you can summon, empowering 2 elements and getting experience. Pretty nice. Yeah.
I think if it had something like maybe a lower attack and wasn't a loss, or even had less elements, if there's some way to balance it to not have that loss, I think I'd favor it a little more. But if you get everything lined up there where you can do 3 damage, take an enemy out, get a free skeleton in play, not lose, yeah, it's good. At least it has a decent bottom half, but not decent enough. I'm still not 100% sold on this one.
It's me, the Necromancer. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, or else. And next we have Flow of the Black River.
This is nice because you can heal yourself after doing all that damage to yourself. You get to heal equal to your number of summons, so if you do
have an army of skeletons.
Yeah, you're going to need some healing because you can't put 3 in play without healing yourself, at least at level 1. Once you get to level 2, you can bring yourself down to 1 and then use this to heal 4. I mean, you've got that option. It depends on if they even survive for you to put all this top halves in. We'll see.
The bottom half of Flow of the Black River, I don't think it's worth it being a loss only to move 6 and empower Dark, because there's another card that we're going to talk about that is like a diet version of this, and it's not a loss. Next card is Exploding Corpse.
Okay, this one's pretty hilarious. I love this with, there's a sacrifice card. I'm not sure I like the willing sacrifice card that much, but you can position everything in for Exploding Corpse. Kill one of your things. That's all, just kill a minion. And then every enemy adjacent to it, attack 5. I think it's got potential. It depends on the scenario. You do have to kill one of your own minions, though, but I mean, like I said, you can actually end up moving it with some of the bottom halves and putting it right in the position where it can attack as many enemies as you want.
I don't think sacrificing one of your skeletons is a bad thing, because you can easily just replace it.
Yeah. And the bottom half, situational. That does feel iffy. Next enemy that dies, boom, 2 damage to everything adjacent. Does hit allies though, so if an ally runs in and charge, just make sure you play that in a safe spot. Suffering damage though, it's nice because it will break through shields. I think this card is probably a little bit more flashy than it looks flashy. I'm iffy on it, but there are several scenarios where this will end some rooms.
Next, we have Dark Tidings.
I'm going to talk about the bottom. It's good. Initiative 43 is not what you want, but you move 3, which is good. Empower Dark, which you'll need not only for the top of this, so you can't really pair them together, but you can set them up for the for some other cards. There's actually a couple others that use Dark, so you're going to definitely be using it. So it's a really good one. The top half is a good loss, but I always like good losses with really good non-loss bottoms. So that's why this card really stands out to me. Move 3, Empower Dark. Bam. Top half, pick 2 of your minions, and then they get to make a swing for free. So they've already acted before on your turn, so they've already done their move for this turn. So they've moved closer to enemies, and then they've already attacked. Now you make both of them attack again, and if the enemy survives, you curse both those enemies. That's pretty good. 2 free swings, and then if you burn Dark, you also poison them. And we get 1 experience or 2 experience. Additionally, if they're adjacent to multiple enemies, with this card, they're not acting like the summon AI. You pick which one they swing at. So you can actually pile them on top of each other. The thing is, because it says 2 of your allies do this, you can make one of them swing and poison them and have the next one hit the poisoned guy to do extra damage.
Next card is Ritual Dagger.
This is another card I like. I would have liked this if maybe the bottom half wasn't a loss, but it's a very, very, very good loss. So the reason why it's good, it's a melee attack, but attack 3, poison, and empower Earth.
Yeah, very good. Can't complain.
It does everything you want. The only thing you'd probably want more is some range, but keep in mind, when the enemies are targeting, like if you're going at initial 46 and like who's closest, they're both at 46, they'll actually go for your skeletons before you. So even though you have to get up close, if you're equidistant to a skeleton, you're going to be protected. So the bottom half is you take 2 damage and gain 2 experience and lose it. So there's a bit of a negative there. 2 experience is nice. And then every minion you have in play gets to move and then attack, move, attack, move, attack, move, attack, all in rapid succession. If you have the 4 guys out, and they're ready in position, this could be like a bottom half where you can set up for 9 damage, which is incredibly ahead of the curve for most level. I mean, that's the equivalent of like fire orbs, but you're positioning your guys in place. It's I don't think you're always going to get attack 9 like that, but it's pretty close, and that's incredible for a bottom half loss.
Next, we have Willing Sacrifice.
What do you think of that top half?
There's a lot going on in this top half card.
Yeah. So you do curse yourself. The funny part is you're probably going to be cursing and blessing yourself. You get to heal everything within range 2 of you. So everything adjacent and then 1 more out. All allies get to heal and bless. So the funny part is all your minions, for every minion in range, you get to bless yourself that many times. And then you get to bless all your allies. And you get to heal. So if you have any hurt minions, you get to heal them. Yay. The only problem is you take 2 damage and curse yourself.
That's kind of a big problem. I don't like adding curses to my deck voluntarily. And I guess hurting yourself is okay as long as you are at a good health and you can recover it afterward.
Let's go to the bottom half. This is one thing I like. I hate that it's a stupid empowering wind. They can't use wind. The Necromancer literally can't use wind. So it
seems really random.
Yeah. But you move one of your minions 3 in any direction of your choice. So you can pull things. If you know, oh crap, there's a trap. First off, you can move it into the trap to say, please trigger it so we can move through. You can set up that exploding corpse. You can move your really slow, move one guy right in face to what you need to get removed. It's got potential. So I think that bottom half is really good for control, that maybe you can use it. Initiative 53 isn't great. I mean, I'm pretty iffy on this card, but I think the bottom has a lot of potential with it because skeletons use the monster AI. They're really dumb, but this can say, you moron, over there. And since it doesn't actually affect the movement of the thing, so you can use that on that move 1 guy. So I'm a fan of that.
I think If you know you have a character in your party that's going to use air, then this is even better.
Yeah, that's true.
Next, we have Transfer of Essence.
Yep. Top half's fine.
Just fine.
Well, you have to take 2 damage. It does empower dark, good. Heal 6 is good.
Yeah.
You do have to suffer, though.
It's all about suffering for the Necromancer.
Yeah, that's trials and tribulations of the Necromancer. Again, when I said you probably want to bring some healing, this is why. The good part is heal 6 is, again, good for a non-loss heal at level 1, and empowering dark is something you want to do. Bottom half is what I'm more of a fan of.
Oh yeah.
That's it can do a lot.
I love strengthening.
So let's say nothing's empowered. Strengthen something, poison another thing. That's not terrible. That's
really good.
Yeah, I know you can. Even if you aren't,
and it's not a loss.
Yeah, the cool part is, it does remind me a little bit of another card that says strengthen all of your allies on the bottom. That's good. This one, strengthen and poison. That's pretty close in power, because poison a lot of times you can, and you can pile on them and it kind of affects it. So it's got a good damage output. However, if you have dark, you can strengthen 2 guys, and if you have earth, you can poison 2 guys, and if you got both, that can be a pretty big swing. Especially if you want to pile on something, because you can say like, hey, Brute or Cragheart, you're both strengthened, or the Drifter or something, anything that you have on your front line is like, we want to kill that. You can actually just strengthen them. Or you can strengthen your own minions if whatever's, the scoundrels run way ahead, put one of your minions in play and let them to get the strengthen. And poison whatever enemies need to be taken. I think it's a pretty big swing for like what she said, non-loss.
Next is Eternal Torment.
Loot 1 on bottom. I like loots on top, but some classes really don't get too many top loots, sadly.
But the top of this card.
Yeah, huge long range, which is good. Attack 1, which is weak, but whatever. And then
but
curse.
You had a curse.
Yeah, it's straight up. The funny part is sometimes you got like the cards from the Brute, which is just grab and go, which I like. You either move or you loot. It's a good card. This one, you loot or you toss a curse in the deck. It's hard to complain like, well, I don't have anything to loot that I want to do right now. Just toss a curse in the enemy deck. It's kind of really hard to beat that, and maybe with a lucky draw you do a couple damage.
I love curses.
Yeah, curse is good. I think it's fine. I think this will see play in a lot of early decks.
Next we've got Wrath of the Turned Earth.
Yep. So this one goes really well with the nasty horror that you can summon later, but it also goes well with the skeletons. You can make one of your skeletons attack 3 or make the horror attack 4. However, if Earth's empowered, bump those numbers up in poison. The cool part about this is if Earth's empowered and you have the horror in play, you get a free attack 5 and poison on something, which is really good for non-loss that you can control, and you give it an experience if you burn Earth too. Mm-hmm. So if one of your minions is in play, attack +1 is the worst case scenario, and if all of your minions are out of range, it's generally a bit of a problem for the Necromancer anyway. Bottom half is kind of nice because it protects your minions. The next 3 times they suffer damage, they don't take anything. So you're in that final room, drop this on a bottom half with a good attack on top, and you can say, hey, my guys are going to be sticking around this time.
Mm-hmm. And finally, we have Command the Wretched.
I think a lot of people are going to lose why this one's a good card. The bottom half is an attack 6, which is not really... It's good for a bottom half loss, is to attack 6. It doesn't matter which one. So you can actually have a skeleton in play and lose it. You're probably not going to be using the bottom very often. The top is a moves +0, attack +0, which sounds pretty weak because your skeletons are already, or your minions are already doing that. But it does say with you controlling the actions. So if you want to misdirect and say, no, stop going that way, you can say, hey, Mr. Skeleton, move 2 hexes this way. And then they actually get to swing again because they've already moved and attacked this turn. Now they get to move in the direction of your choice and attack something of your choice. I think it's a really good way to command the wretched, as the name indicates. Crap initiative, but it will be used. That's it for the Necromancer. So I can see why Isaac picked that as his favorite class, and I think it's one of the ones I want to try. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments below what your thoughts on the Necromancer are.